Welcome to Echoes and Pixels. I'm your host, and this is where the thrilling world of gaming meets the timeless power of storytelling. Every week, we'll dive deep into the latest news from the pixelated universe and then lose ourselves in captivating narratives, from chilling tales to epic sagas. Let's kick things off with our very first weekly gaming news report. In our top story today, Doom, the Dark Ages has stormed onto the scene, reaching over 3 million players within its first week of release. The latest installment in the legendary FPS franchise trades high-tech sci-fi for brutal medieval mayhem, complete with armored demons, a new arsenal of archaic weapons, and even a rideable cyber dragon. Critics have praised the game's bold aesthetic shift and intense, weighty combat, calling it one of the most daring reimaginings in the series to date. Next up, Mercury Steam, the studio behind Metroid Dread, is set to launch its latest title, Blades of Fire, on May 22nd. This dark fantasy action RPG puts players in the shoes of Arendelle, a lone warrior who must battle through a cursed kingdom ruled by the tyrannical Queen Neria. With a unique weapon forging mechanic and a rich, lore-heavy world, Blades of Fire is already drawing comparisons to titles like Dark Souls and God of War. Expect intense combat, deep narrative, and unforgettable boss battles. In a stunning crossover between cinema and gaming, a live-action film adaptation of Elden Ring has been officially announced. Directed by Alex Garland, known for Ex Machina and Annihilation, and co-produced by A24 and Bandai Namco, the project promises to explore the haunting beauty and dark mysticism of the lands between. While plot details remain under wraps, fans are already buzzing about how the game's rich lore and epic scale will translate to the big screen. Finally, Clair Obscur, Expedition 33 is taking the industry by storm. The French-developed RPG has scored a staggering 92% on OpenCritic, becoming the highest-rated game of 2025 so far. Selling 2 million copies in under 2 weeks, the game's painterly visuals, poetic storytelling, and turn-based combat system have captivated players worldwide. Even French President Emmanuel Macron praised the title, calling it a shining example of French audacity and creativity in gaming. That wraps up our first gaming news report. But here at Echoes and Pixels, the journey is just beginning. Now, let's step away from the dazzling pixels and venture into the depths of human psyche. Today, we delve into a masterwork of suspense from the legendary Edgar Allan Poe, The Telltale Heart. True, I have been nervous, very, very dreadfully nervous. But why would you think I'm mad? Madness sharpens the senses. It doesn't dull them. And mine were sharp, especially my hearing. I heard things in the heaven above and in the earth below. I even heard things in hell. So, how can you say I am mad? Listen, and watch how calmly, how precisely I tell this story. It began with the old man. I loved him. He had never wronged me, never insulted me. I didn't want his money. No, I think it was his eye, yes, that pale blue eye, like a vulture's, cold, lifeless, always watching. Whenever it fell on me, my blood ran cold. So I made up my mind to take his life and rid myself of that eye forever. Now understand this, I was not angry. I was careful. Every night, at midnight, for a whole week, I crept into his room. Slowly, silently, I opened the door just enough to slip my head inside. Then, very gently, I shone a single ray of light onto the vulture eye. But each night, the eye was closed, and so I couldn't do it. It was not the old man I hated, it was the eye. On the 8th night, I was more cautious than ever. The clock struck midnight, and I opened the door. The old man stirred, and I froze. He didn't sit up, but I knew he was awake. I could feel his fear. It was like mine had once been, deep, shadowy, suffocating. I stood still for a long time, not making a sound. Then, I opened the lantern, just a sliver, and the light fell on it. The eye, wide open, pale and cold. That was enough. I leapt into the room, dragging him to the floor. He cried out once, only once. I pulled the heavy bed over him. It was done. The old man was dead, and his evil eye would trouble me no more. But then, the sound. A low thumping, soft but steady. His heart. I smiled. It couldn't be. He was dead. And yet, it grew louder. Louder. Could the neighbors hear? I had to stop it. Now, I grabbed the floorboards and tore them up. I buried the body beneath the planks. There, finished. No blood. No trace. Nothing. Morning came. And then, a knock at the door. The police. A neighbor had heard a scream. I welcomed them in. I smiled. I brought chairs and had them sit, right above the very spot where the old man lay hidden. I chatted easily. They had no suspicion. But soon, I heard it again. That sound. That cursed beating of the heart. Faint at first, but rising. I spoke louder. Louder still, trying to drown it out. But it wouldn't stop. That awful, rhythmic thump, beating, accusing, screaming inside my skull. They smiled. They chatted. They didn't hear it. They didn't notice. But I did. It grew louder. Louder. I could no longer breathe, no longer think. I paced. I shouted. Still, the sound grew. And then, I could take it no more. Villains! I shrieked. Stop pretending. I admit it. Tear up the floor. It's the beating of his hideous heart.